Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I promise you today you're going to be entertained, if nothing else, because today I'm going to be walking you through my first ever tournament game that I played a couple days ago, and I somehow managed to blunder on move 1. So before I jump fully into the video, if you're new here, you don't know what's about to happen, welcome and enjoy this, because today I'm going to be doing my wristwatch check and a drinks check as I do every video. So my wristwatch today is my Mido Ocean Star on a blue canvas. I actually think this is a really nice combination with the blue dial, the blue bezel. It looks really great. Now the drink of the day, really boring, unfortunately. If it is your first time, I'm sorry to disappoint. It's just water today, but you're more than welcome to indulge in something a little stronger, as it is now Good Friday while I'm recording this, so enjoy the long weekend. Okay, now let's jump into the chess video. By the way, I'm a bit nervous about doing this because I know some of you are going to be watching this and you're grandmasters or something equivalent, and I'm just a brand new sort of chess player, so do give me a little bit of slack here. So let's jump into it. So the tournament I was playing in was a friendly wager tournament against two clubs. So it's my club that I play in and a neighbouring club. We did a simple head-to-head where, you know, there's 9 boards and whoever has the most points at the end of it is the winner. So it's just a friendly little tournament and you only play 1 game. So I was put onto board 8 out of 9. So I was way down. So I was actually against a pretty damn scary opponent because he was really young. Before I arrived, the rest of my team were talking about how they were also very scared about going against these youngsters, because the young ones are the really scary ones because they have the insane memory and just the fast reaction speed, and they have no sort of fear. So we were all pretty nervous about getting destroyed by people that are like 11, 12. I'd say my opponent was about 13-ish, somewhere around there, and his rating I don't actually know, so I've put him about 1200 because that's what I think he was, but I'm not 100% sure. So this was my one and only game. It starts with e4. What do I play against e4? I normally play the Sicilian. So the thing with over the board tournaments is it's touch to move. So if you touch a piece, you have to move that piece. And I was half looking, trying to start the clock, when I reached for my first piece straight after, and I picked up the wrong pawn. I accidentally, instead of picking up the C pawn, picked up the B pawn. So b4. As you can see, straight away a mistake. The chess.com hates this straight away because this is a free pawn. My opponent can just take it with the bishop straight away, and I'm already down material. I think it's something like plus 1.2 out of the first 2 moves. Straight away I'm losing, and it's pretty much irrecoverable. But my opponent didn't play that. He actually played d4, just I guess getting the center. This is actually called the St. George's opening or defense. I'm not actually sure. I've never heard of this before, and that's not what I was planning to do at all. I was just trying to instantly recover, so I just pushed my A pawn, just trying to defend, and that's a book move apparently. My opponent then plays his knight out, and I play my bishop out. After that, we have a what's this doing? Yeah. Oh, sorry, it's the other knight. My bad. It was the F knight, not this C knight. Okay, so then he plays E3. Yeah, then apparently this was a mistake as well. There are a lot of mistakes in this. Do not get me wrong. I'm a very bad chess player. I'm trying to learn though, so don't be too critical. So I play E6, trying to stop him from pushing this. I don't know why. Apparently the best move was actually just to push your B pawn, attack his knight, move it. I don't know. Maybe that's right. I guess I could then win that pawn. Yeah, that makes sense. Don't know why I didn't do that. This was a long format game as well. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. This was a 50-minute game, which is not super long. It's not like high-end classical, but it's also not a blitz game by any means. So I had time to do this. I could have thought about this a bit more, but I guess I was just already... I did think I was already losing. I already thought like, oh, this is just a waste of a game now. I'm already losing. So I guess I could have pushed this. So playing E6, pushed this, forced his knight over here or something, and then taken this pawn. But I didn't think that far ahead. So instead, I played E6. He then mapped that with a D5. And I think I just developed my knight here, don't I? Yeah, I developed my knight, which is a good move, not really a great move, not the best move, just a move, really. He then blunders, which is nice to see, because that shows me he's human and not god level. I've never played this opponent before. So I can then just take that. That's free. That's free. So I take that. And he responds by bringing out his bishop. I'm thinking he's going to move his queen and try and do a queenside castle, which apparently is really good. That's this is, by the way, white is still really winning. I'm going to turn on the eval bar. I'm not sure why that's not on, actually. I'll turn that on so you can see. Okay, no, wow, black is winning at this point, which means I'll definitely blunder in a couple moves then. So yeah, bring my knight out. That's wrong, apparently. I think I should have just played... is it d6 I should have played? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's so. Anyway, he then takes, which is a great move because it's just a hanging pawn. I take back. He puts an attack on my queen. I think I then block, don't I? Yeah, block with the bishop, not with the pawn. Now he goes back. Now this is where he's going to try and like line up a really basic sort of bishop attack once I castle, and he does that. So I castle, which is wrong because every move I make is wrong basically. And he then takes the pawn for free. So I shouldn't have done that at all. What is the best move here? I think d6 it says is the best move, which I don't see how, because that still blunders that pawn. Moving the knight, maybe? Maybe. I don't want to undevelop my knight. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. What should I do here? It's probably something really simple that I'm missing, but it's always easier to play chess as a spectator. So when you're sitting at home and you're seeing a stupid easy move, do think about that, because chess is definitely a spectator sport. So anyway, I castle and he takes, and I move my rook over because... I don't even know, actually. I don't know what I was thinking here. I think it was just because I wanted that really basic attack. I could move my bishop, put him in check, and try and take something, maybe. I don't know. He just doesn't really care too much about that. Moves his bishop out. I'm still at plus 1.7 at this point, so I'm gonna make some really big mistakes, definitely. So I move my rook over. It's just because I didn't want to be pinned. I don't want this bishop like being x-rayed by the queen. I don't want that. So I can also then eventually move my rook up. This is what I was thinking, was now that I've made this stupid b-pawn move, I can at least move my rook up and try and give it a bit of a lift up into the game at some point. So he moves his queen, trying to do a really simple checkmate over here. So if I do a stupid move, and he can just go checkmate there. So I then block that just by moving my pawn up, which is apparently a great move. Don't really know why. It's super basic. I don't think I could do anything else, but the way chess.com rates moves is a bit questionable. But I then make a bit of a mistake. So he castles, and then I move my bishop, which is a mistake apparently, because I was actually meant to move. So I basically thought, oh, what have I done? What have I done? I've clicked the wrong button, and now it's sent me back into the Stone Age. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I move my bishop back over here to the f8 square, just to try and put it back over here and fianchetto, make a use out of moving this g-pawn, but apparently this was a mistake. What I should have played instead was bishop to f6. Now, it looks scary because it looks like he's be taken, but I can't because it's being, then he'll lose his queen. I did not see this at the time. I actually thought I was really losing at the time. I did not want to risk anything. So yeah, I rerouted my bishop, trying to get it fianchettoed. He moved his queen up, which is a missed win apparently as well. Yeah, I'm not sure what the best move there was, but yeah. And then I do another missed win, moving my knight over. I think I was just trying to stop this really, because he's got this move where he's going to try and put his bishop here, and if I take, he's going to put his queen there, which is actually surprisingly enough what happened. So I move my knight, he moves his bishop. I did not know what he was doing here, but it let me off the lead a bit because I was a bit more relaxed here. I then played h6, which is just a mistake apparently. It does absolutely nothing. It just gives him a pawn really, because he's going to move his bishop back, which is what he does, and now he gets a pawn out of it because I've not defended it any better. I should have probably done something else. Not even sure what I should have done, but yeah. I then play knight out, which is a mistake as well because he just takes, and then I get doubled pawns. Not great. And he then takes the pawn, which is a mistake because everything is a mistake. I then take, and he takes back, and my king is now trapped. It cannot move anywhere. That's not what you want to see. And I actually showed a couple of people this game after I played it, and they were like, why did you ever let this happen? I was like, I don't really care at this point. At this point, I'm just sort of like, just going with the flow. I actually saw this idea quite a while ago that I should, once the queen's moved, I should take this knight, just try and double his pawns and get an open file along this g file here. So I did see some tactics, little bits, not really much, but I misplayed it. I should have played it at the wrong time completely, really. So he takes, I take, and then yeah, I should have probably taken. Maybe actually. Yeah, because I could sort of win a pawn here actually if I do it now. Because if I take here, he takes. Actually, even if he does it the other way around, so he gets double pawns, or I get a free pawn. So either way. So why do I keep doing that? He takes, and then I get this. So, which apparently is a massive blunder. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. Clearly. So he takes, I take, he takes, I take, he then takes, and then I take it. So same sort of thing, but just different order. So that's also a mistake. Apparently I was just getting greedy here. Instead I should have tried to protect against this insanely threatening checkmate. All he has to do is move the king over and then the rook over, and that's checkmate. Really, because I just can't do anything. I can block and then he takes, so that's checkmate. So I should probably have thought a bit more about that, and everyone else when I was showing them this game was like, why were you not intimidated by this checkmate? This is really threatening. This is a real worrisome thing. And I was like, yeah, I don't know actually. Apparently the best move here was not to take the pawn and instead threaten the queen, make it move out of the way. So that seems quite obvious at the time now. And the thing is, he can't go somewhere like here, because then I could just move my rook over and it's pinned. He can't move the queen because I'll then capture his king, which can't be allowed. So he loses the queen. So he can't do that. So he has to give up his attack and move somewhere else entirely, maybe defending that pawn. So yeah, that was a thing that I could have definitely played, which I didn't. I should have done that. Instead, I got greedy. I took the pawn. He then moved back anyway, so it didn't really matter because now we're about even again. I then moved my queen out just to secure everything. Didn't want to have to move this rook again. I like this open file. And what happens next is he moves right in front of the king, which is would have been nice to move this and then bring my rook over and pin him the old school way, but I didn't play that. Instead, I was hoping for a queen trade. At this point, I thought if I just get everything off the board, I'll be marginally alright, because I've got these slightly more advanced pawns, and I think I'm just better at end games than my middle game and early games, so I think I would have been slightly better off. But he didn't want to do a queen trade, so when I offered it, that's also a mistake, by the way. Apparently I should have just used this opportunity to get my king over to the h-file, which looks kind of scary, actually. I don't like the look of that, because it just looks like it's inviting a load of checks, but it's apparently perfectly fine, and doing that is actually just winning for black. So I didn't do that. Instead, I blocked over here, and I wanted this to happen. I wanted this so I could undouble my pawns and then have a bit of protection in front of my king. It did not happen. He probably saw that coming, so he instead just attacked my rook. I moved back, which is a mistake. I don't know where I should have moved. So the computer's saying e4 is better. Rook e4. Maybe, yeah. But then doesn't that just walk into this, and then you're just moving again? I guess he can't take that, can he? Because he can just take. So he can't take because it's pinned. I guess that works. Anyway, I didn't see that, so instead I moved my rook back. He moved his rook over. I lifted my rook up, like I said I was going to do that a while ago. I then finally did that, and that was a mistake. Instead of doing that, I think I should have done... It wasn't trades. It wasn't trading. I think it was just moving the rook over and attacking his pawn or something. Yeah, I think that's the right move. But that feels like it's just sort of nothing after he moves his rook and guards the pawn, so I'm not really sure. Apparently that's bad for white. I'm not really sure why. And then I guess I could lift my... I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, but I lift my rook up anyway. He moves his king over to be unpinned, just so that I've no... he can actually move his queen again. I then do the same, which is apparently an amazing move. It's the best move I've ever played. Just literally just unpinning, doing the exact same thing. He moves his rook over, attacking my pawn. I then take the rook, which is apparently a great move, which I actually thought was a bit of a blunder when I played it, because I just thought takes, and then he can take with the king, which is best, and he's still got this attack, and I can't really... If I move this pawn up to guard it, it's a mistake, a really big mistake, because it locks in my rook. My rook can never move out, really. I have to then move up, and it's, you know, it's really fiddly, so it's a mistake, that is. So yeah, that didn't happen though. He took back with the rook, which is a mistake on his part. I was happy at this point that I thought actually I was winning, and it turns out I was actually winning from a completely thrown early game, semi-thrown middle game. I was actually winning now going into the end game. So I moved my queen over, which is apparently a great move. All I saw really was I'm attacking this pawn, and if he does something like this, you know, I could try and pin his rook, you know, which is apparently now equal. And yeah, I can then try and, I don't know, get my other rook into the game. Or if he doesn't do that and he just goes over here, I can then issue a check and then try and win this pawn on this side. So the arrows, by the way, are not great. I'm not really good at drawing arrows. But yeah, that was my thought at least, but apparently that's a great move. He then just goes over here, putting me in check. Now, this is actually an interesting point here. So I have two options really. I can, I guess you could say three options. So I can either block with this pawn here, block the check. I can block this pawn here, like with block the check. Or I could try and block with the queen and do a queen trade. So I can just go there, like when he takes, go here, and apparently this is now equal. Maybe. Evavar doesn't really know. Black is marginally better. It's basically equal. I made the worst move in the position. By the way, this is by far the best move, because he then has to move his queen, and who knows where he wants to go. Probably not there, not there, not there. Who knows where he wants to go. Anyway, he needs to move his queen, and or I didn't think this was good at all for some reason. I thought that after, okay, that is best. After a move, I don't even know, like that, I just thought I was losing, but apparently that's perfectly fine and I'm completely winning here. So anyway, he does this, and I said block with the pawn on the d-file, which is completely wrong because now I've just trapped in my most useful pieces completely. Yeah, I've just made a massive mistake here where I literally have just thrown away the game in a way, and now the position's back to equal because my queen is out of action now and my rook is fossilized. It can't really go anywhere. So yeah, apparently that was just a really big mistake, and something I need to think about in the future is trapping pieces in, because they do the same thing. You're both moving pawns. The reason I thought this was good is I thought I was making progress with the pawns, and I was still thinking very, very two-dimensionally. My time at this point was actually quite good still. I still had about 12 minutes on the clock up to this point. He was moving quite fast, so he had about 15 minutes on the clock, and yeah, he was doing quite well, I thought at least. This completely equalises the position, and now we're back to square one again, trying to fight back for an initiative. I offer the queen trade, which is by far the best, and he has to take because his queen is pinned to his king, because that is not a good move whatsoever. He was just trying to get greedy, take this pawn, but now I forced the queens off the board, so he takes, I then take back, more doubled pawns. I'm really bad for this apparently. And then he attacks my pawn. I take, which is fine, he takes back. I move the rook up, attacking his pawn. He moves over, attacking my pawn, so I lift the pawn up, which is the best move. He attacks the other pawn, which is an accuracy, but because I can defend with the king, that's why. So otherwise I'd be, you know, pretty screwed, but I can defend with the king. He checks, I get behind, the king's perfectly safe now. I'm now winning, and he moves his other pawn. I guess he wanted to move this pawn just because he didn't know what else to do, and if he goes like this, I can take, and then both pawns are under threat. So he didn't want to do that, so he moved it once, which is also a mistake. And I think it was probably better just to try and, I don't even know, move the king maybe. Okay, rook takes f4 is apparently the, okay, anyway, that's what I'm about to do. Thanks, game. Yeah, so I take, and he comes over here. I don't really know what the point of this one was. I think it was just trying to close off this file still, and maybe get initiative. I should have moved over. I don't know why I didn't do this. I should have moved over and tried to trade and undouble my pawns. Instead, though, I pushed this pawn. This is where you're going to see a lot of mistakes. Prepare yourself. If you're really good at chess, or just better than I am, which is not hard, you're about to cringe really hard at this, because the amount of mistakes that are made in the next 4 moves is incredible. So I move my pawn, thinking, oh, okay, this is great. I can just trade, and you know, I'm winning here. Apparently, it's completely equal. It's just a draw, really. So I was completely wrong. But that's not what happened anyway. So he then pushed past, which is a mistake. He was meant to take the pawn, but yeah, he pushed past, and I then made a mistake by pushing as well. Apparently I should have gone something, I think, like over here, blocking his pawn, because this pawn is pretty, that's an inaccuracy as well, I don't know. I know that's one of these moves I was meant to have blocked this pawn with my rook, and even though it's defended by this pawn, I was meant to stop it from marching up the board because it's going to be quite fast. There's no other pawns to stop it, so it's a passed pawn, and the only thing I can do is stop it with my pieces. And if he gets this king into the game and defends it all the way up, pretty much I'm screwed. So at this point I'm really winning apparently at 2.2. Well, that's about to change because I then make another blunder, make another miss. I then keep marching past, and my thoughts was to just trade off, and then I can block here. And I don't know what actually is the best move. Maybe if he then pushes, then I go here. Is that right? That is right. That is the correct move. But that didn't happen. So I kept pushing. He kept pushing. I was then thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to take, takes, whatever. But I didn't. I was then like, okay, let's keep doing more mistakes. Now we're equal. Don't know why this is a mistake, by the way. I literally have no idea. So I should have taken, apparently. And he then goes behind my pawn. Best move. Stop it from promoting with check, because if he does anything else, if he takes this pawn, I then go to a queen, check, and it's mate in 8 apparently. So he does the right thing. He goes behind my pawn. I can't defend this pawn. There's no way for me to defend it. So I take his pawn. He takes my pawn. We're now slightly even. I'm a little bit better. I then get my queen. If only I had a queen. I get my king into the game with. Oh, this is when he checks again. So yeah, I move my king over to E7 6. Still learning the coordinates. E6. He then goes over to E2, checking me. At which point I then start to move my king all the way around the board. So I then go over to F6. He then moves his king into the game. He's trying to come in with his king, trying to do what I said, trying to march this pawn up the board. I then make a mistake as well, going to the G file. Did I say that? Yeah, the G file, the G5. He then comes forward, attacking my rook. Doesn't really do anything. It's defended by the king. I move over, trying to offer a rook trade and undouble my pawn, starting to try and march up. He doesn't take though. He's too smart for that. He then attacks. This is the best move. He then attacks my pawn on the B file. Quite an obvious move. So I then put him in check with the pawn, so he can't take it straight away. He then has to move his king over, attacking my rook. I then drop the rook back, defending the pawn, which is best. That's really odd because I did a deep analysis and it said it was a massive inaccuracy. So, whatever. Stop this. You do whatever you want. No one's questioning you. So this is completely equal, completely drawn apparently. And he then pushes my king with his pawn, and I was really happy at this point. I was really happy because, to be honest, what happens is if I take, he can then take and attack my rook, yeah? That's fine, I can then move my rook over. But I've then captured this horribly annoying pawn that I literally have no good way of stopping. That's why I marched my king over, is to stop this pawn from promoting over here. And at this point I was really happy, so I took which is obviously the best move. Takes, and then I move my king. Oh yeah, sorry, what was I on about? My rook is not under attack. He then puts me in check. I then move over, which is best again. This is literally just to try and attack this pawn. He then took quite a long time to find a simple move, which is just F3. He then is guarded by the king and the rook. So I then move over with the rook, sort of trying to get some play into the position with like a C5. He moves his king over, you know, I guess getting some opposition that doesn't need to be gotten. With G4, I was trying to get these coordinates. Is pretty hard. I haven't got any coordinates on the board, so I'm just trying to do this off memory. And it's always weird when you're doing it with black because it's the inverse. So I then march up my pawn, which is a mistake because actually I can sort of see why. It sort of traps my rook in. I can only go up and down, and I can't really move my rook. That's obviously not what he's going to do, but I can't really move my rook at all anymore. Plan just simply to march the pawn up to D4 and keep pushing it all the way up, which is just a mistake. I don't really know what the best move here was. Apparently rook B2 check. Oh no, that's sorry to him, which is what he does. Rook B2 check, best move. So I then go F1. The reason I didn't go like H1, I just want to do my king more in the game really. and I was kind of scared about a checkmate. Is this really bad? No, it's not terrible. I was worried something about this though, and isn't this just bad? Because maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, I was worried about something like this. Anyway, that didn't happen luckily. So he moves over. I check. I go to F1. He checks. Sorry. I go to F1. He then pushes the F pawn to F4. I then push again, making another mistake to D4. He then makes a mistake. Thank God he finally makes a miss. This is absolutely crushing. This one move loses him the game, really. You can see the eval bar going crazy down to like +8 for black now. So I then move to D3, which is excellent. The last 2 pawn pushes were terrible. This one's amazing. Don't ask me why. I think it's just because now the king's in reach. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the king moving here was better instead of moving the rook. Let me see actually. Is that better? Yeah, that's the best move. Anyway, I then push and just simple objective. Just get this thing to promote. Get this game over with. Accept that I've made a terrible game out of this. And yeah, just try and get this thing done. He goes behind my pawn. To be expected, I move the king, which is the best move. Very simple move. He puts me in check, so I move in front of the pawn. Which isn't the best move, but you know, it is the job. Anyway, he then pushes the pawn. I then take because I just don't want any threats. I don't want anything marching down the board. I'm not scared of this pawn because it's going to get stopped by this pawn eventually anyway. And if the king takes, I'll be way on my way to getting my own queen by then. So anyway, he pushes A4. I then take. He then takes. I come back, allowing my pawn to move. He then puts me in check again. Sorry, doesn't put me in check. What am I about? This is to stop him putting me in check again because if he. I could just do that. What am I on about? So yeah, he then instead tries to pin my pawn to my king so that I can't move the pawn up anymore. Doesn't work though because I can just move my king up, and then when he goes to check, I block with the pawn. So he goes instead F5 and just trying to march his. At this point, I was actually really tempted to sack, like just get all the move, like positional play out and just take this pawn. I don't know if this is just terrible. Yeah, okay, that's really good that I didn't do that. I was really considering that. I was thinking, oh, just stop this thing being a threat, just take it, get it out. But no, apparently it's a draw then, because I think, yeah, I think he can do, if I do something like this, I think he can basically go and attack this pawn, eventually do the same thing and just sacrifice his rook for this pawn, and in the end it will just be a draw. So anyway, he then marches down, I then march up, all the way up. He's 1 square away from promotion. This pawn has made such a journey all the way up, and he's almost ready to promote into a queen. But then the rook pins once again. I then do the same maneuver again, king. Okay, I'm back. So the camera died at a maximum recording limit. Back to where we were. He then plays rook a1 check. Now, if I go here and just promote to the queen, he can then sack. You know, it doesn't really matter. I'm so winning at this point. It doesn't really affect me. But I just thought, you know what, let's just do this better and just block with the rook. This then allows him to either take the rook or move away. I think it's better for him just to take no, it can't be. It must be better for him to move the rook away or something. But yeah, apparently that's the best move. But instead he actually takes, so which is also an excellent move. So he takes with check, so I then take back, make a queen. This cuts off his king from going down this way. And the rest is really quite simple. So he pushes the pawn, you know, he can now move there. So I just do this really slowly. I was at this point really relaxed. It was actually starting to be a bit of a crowd because that game went on so much longer than all the other games, really. I think we were the last ones going. And there was about 8 or so people, maybe even a few more, starting to crowd around me. And I was just like, why isn't he resigned? But I respect the tenacity and I respect his sort of fortitude to keep playing regardless. Who knows, I could have stalemated. So I then moved the queen down, just cutting off. This is not the most accurate way to do it. At this point, I was just savouring the moment, enjoying the win. I was just cutting off the king, and he then moves away over here. I move really simply, just over 1, just because that's actually the best move. It was crying at me earlier, saying that was a terrible move. Stop, fish, get your shit, man. Anyway, he then moves away because he has to. I just move a little bit closer again. You know, this just stops him. He cannot guard this pawn in any shape or form now. So he moves away. I then take with check. All I want to do now is get a second queen. Why? Because I can. I could easily checkmate with one queen, but I want to get a second queen and just savour the victory. So he moves over, check, he moves over. This is just simple now, just pushing it. The only reason I moved here is just to stop his king ever coming even close to this pawn, just to never have to worry about it again. So he just keeps dancing around. I get another queen. He gets it into check. There was a few inaccuracies here. He kept moving himself into check, but you know, it's whatever. At this point, I was actually really tempted to offer him a draw, just for the one fact that, like, I didn't really feel that great about beating this kid, and I could see that he wanted this win badly. But the only reason I didn't do that is because it was an unrated game, so it doesn't really matter about my rating anyway. Not that I have an official rating, but it was actually the fact that it was a team tournament. So if I would have gotten a draw, I think we would have lost the tournament, which it didn't matter in the end anyway, because we still lost the tournament by one game anyway. So I could have offered him a draw here, and we would have been fine. But it didn't happen, unfortunately. I did just keep pressing instead. I do feel a little bit bad, but anyway, he moves his king, and I just try to create this easy ladder checkmate, just relaxing at this point. There's now about 10 people watching, and you know, I had a few people after come up to me saying, you know, you don't need 2 queens to checkmate. I was like, yeah, don't worry though. If I could have 5 queens, I would. It's just that sort of like, I've won, I'm savouring the moment. So anyway, he moves his king, you know, just really simple. This is just forced, by the way. So he can't go here because of the queen, can't go anywhere here. This is the only legal move he can make, because I think I can change colour, yeah. So he can only go here. And obviously he goes there, and it's checkmate. So I actually thought for about 2 minutes, don't tell anyone, I actually thought for about 2 minutes which queen, or like which way I was going to move the queen to checkmate. Did I want to go like here, here, here? Oh god, that would have been impressive if I could have gone there. Yeah, so did I want to go there, there, or there, really? That was the only thing I was left to think about. How did I want to win this game? So, yeah, I decided just to move the queen straight over, checkmate. I shook his hand, he then promptly left. You could see that he wasn't fully happy with the way he played, but I actually had a blooming terrible game. So to make this into a win for my first tournament, I'm really happy with that. Let me know what you think about this absolutely rubbish game review in the comment section down below. Let me know what rating you are, because I'll be interested to see how good my audience is. Don't lie about your rating, I will know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.